Good morning, guys, and welcome from Bucharest, the capital of Romania. I am here for a long weekend. It is 1st of May 2026. First, happy Labor Day to all of you. After all, most of us are workers, so this is something that we should and can celebrate. So I'm here for another episode of the Balkan series. You know that I have been in most of the capitals and big cities of my neighboring countries. I have been in Athens and Thessaloniki in Greece. I have been in Istanbul. I have been in Niš and Belgrade in Serbia, and now this is the right time to also show you what Bucharest can offer. I arrived here around an hour and a half ago with overnight bus from Sofia, and now I'm closing in on the old city of Bucharest, which I'm gonna reach in maybe around 20 minutes, something like that. So when I reach it, I will show you some interesting old buildings and a lot of history there. Meanwhile, while I'm walking, let me show you this huge building. This is a typical brutalist architecture, typical for the socialist times. As you know, Romania, just like us, just like Bulgaria, was ruled by a dictator during the Cold War who was loyal to the Soviet Union. And this is the typical way that buildings were built at that time. Huge, with a lot of concrete and resemblance to something old, but yeah, I don't know what exactly this was. Obviously it was never finished and it is now left to destroy by itself. But yeah, you just saw another example of this architecture. During the Cold War, Romania was ruled by a brutal dictator called Nicolae Ceausescu. He ruled Romania with iron fist and didn't allow any opposition or any opinion different than his. So most of Bucharest was remodeled and reconstructed during his rule, so that it can resemble a modern socialist town. At least this was his vision. Tomorrow I will show you more of the buildings from that time, the typical brutalist socialist architecture and some impressive buildings, and we will also talk a lot more about history, especially the history of socialist Romania. But today my focus will be on the Old Town. The Old Town is one of the few places in Bucharest which was left largely intact and was not reconstructed during the socialist rule, so I will reach it in a bit and show you some more historical objects there, some ancient things. Today my focus will be on it, and by the way, here we have a very beautiful park, which I don't know how exactly is called, but looks very well maintained. Everything is clean, the grass is cut very well. There is even a big lake here. Well, yeah, there are also some homeless people sleeping, but this is part of the life. Unfortunately, the situation of some people is not good. This is in every country, so it is just normal. So let me reach the Old Town. I will focus on it today before noon, and after that I will go to check into my hotel. And in the afternoon, the focus will be on food and drink experience. I have also some craft beer bars to check. Of course, well, obviously, even some cars are passing here. I'm not sure if this is allowed or not, but obviously Even if it is not allowed, it doesn't stop the people doing it. So guys, in a few minutes I will reach the old town. The first thing that I'm gonna show you here in the old town is the so-called Macavilla Cross Passage. This place with this beautiful yellow glass roof above it is a very famous now with a lot of cafés which are still not working because it is too early. Maybe I will come across a bit later to show you how it looks, but now there are no people, so it is very easy to show everything without the crowd. This place was built in 1891 and it was the first some kind of mall, if you can say, in Bucharest. And now of course it is transformed into an area where there are a lot of cafes, restaurants, bars and other places for entertainment. You can see here this part also. And generally this is the vibe of the old town itself, more casual place where people come to relax, to have a drink, to talk with other people, to enjoy the life in general. Let me show you also some old buildings. You can see this. And I also have some specific places in mind, which I'm gonna reach in a bit. On the right you can see the National Bank of Romania. This very beautiful white building was built at the end of 19th century, around 1882 to 1889 I think. And as you can see, it has very beautiful architecture and is also in very good shape and still used as a national bank building. And this is the back side of the National Bank building. It looks very beautiful also from this side. In fact, it looks even more ancient than from the front. Here you can clearly see the contrast between the old building like this one that you see in front, which are typical for the old town, and this huge pile of concrete which seems abandoned for a very long time. The contrast between the old architecture and the socialist architecture is pretty stunning here. This place is called the Savings Bank Palace. It is a building which was built between 1896 and 1900, and it is very beautiful. The interesting thing here is the metal dome with glass, which you can see, which was not typical for the buildings at that time, but makes it even more beautiful. In front of me you can see one of the oldest buildings in the old town, which is the Stavropuleus Monastery. This monastery was built in 1724, and after that it was partially rebuilt around 1900 because some damage occurred due to an earthquake. This is very beautiful Orthodox monastery, which unfortunately is still not open because it is too early, but at least I can show you from outside. We are now entering the heart of the old town, and as you can see there are even more restaurants and cafes here. Some businesses are starting to open. Maybe I can find something for breakfast, something interesting to show to you a bit later. But looking at the way this place looks now, obviously it was not yet properly cleaned from the last night, and it looks like some serious party is going on here during the evening. Maybe we will see it. This place here is called Di Curtea Vece, and these are the ruins of 15th century residence of the Wallachian rulers, including Vlad the Impaler, the famous Vlad Dracu, was using it for some time, but unfortunately the place is closed for renovation for several years now, and we can't enter to see it from inside. Hopefully it will open again soon. And right next to the ruins of the old residence of the Wallachian rulers, you can see this very beautiful church, which is called the Saint Anthony Church, and it is the oldest religious building in Bucharest. It was built roughly around 1559, and it served as a church where the coronation of the Wallachian rulers took place for more than 2 centuries. This is the National Military Club of Romania, another very beautiful old building in the region of the Old Town. In the summer, most probably, these fountains are working, making the building even more impressive. Here is some information about the park that I showed you a bit earlier. Its name seems to be the Cismigiu Garden, and it was built in 1860. Let me stroll around it because it looks really beautiful, and maybe I will also find some interesting places to show inside it. This is how the lake itself looks. As you can see, there is a very beautiful fountain inside it and a lot of boats at the other end. Maybe you can rent these boats and sail in this lake here. I suppose that this is the purpose of them. I am very impressed how clean this park is. It's directly inside the center, close to the old town, with a lot of tourists coming here, and it is literally spotless. You can't see even a single piece of trash. Obviously, this takes a lot of effort to be maintained in such a good shape, but definitely the municipality here did a great job. Here we have a section for the kids, as well as another lake next to it, and something which looks to be a fancy restaurant. I don't know if it is working all year around or maybe it is only during the summer, but it looks pretty good. Well guys, I got extremely lucky. It is not even 9 a.m. and I managed to have early check-in at the hotel even without payment, additional payment. So let me show you how Hotel Uranus looks. This is the bathroom. As you can see, it is pretty basic, but the good thing is that it is clean and also it is not too small. And here is how the room itself looks. It's a little bit old, but looks pretty okay. It was freshly cleaned, so I don't have complaints, especially considering that this is a room that costs only 35 euro per night, and it is in fact just a 2-star hotel. I have a fridge, I have a TV, there is even an air conditioner, which I'm not sure if it is working. I don't see any remote control for it, and here is the view towards the next building. So that's about it. Let me have some few hours of sleep, and after that I'm gonna hit the streets and we are gonna have some food and drink experience.